What's up, NEC? We're going to jump into Proverbs Chapter 3. I hope everybody's having a great Friday so far. So the verses we're going to be talking about today kind of sting a little bit, but I think it's so important for us to talk about. So I want to point out Proverbs Chapter 3, verse 11 and 12. And if you read it with me, it says, "My son, do not despise the Lord's discipline or be weary of his reproof. For the Lord reproves him whom he loves, as a father the son in whom he delights." So nobody likes to talk about discipline or to think about the idea of God disciplining us. That's a little bit tough, especially if you're in the middle of one of those seasons. But now that I'm a dad, I have a little bit of a different perspective on this, because I start to think about my three little girls, and I think about times when I have to pop them, if I have to put them in timeout, I have to chastise them or discipline them. And I know, number one, that it hurts my heart. I don't like to discipline them, but I know it's best for them. Because I can't imagine if we raised our three girls to live in such a way that they think they can do whatever they want, whenever they want, however they want, that they make the rules, that they get to make all the decisions selfishly based on what they want to do. Man, we'd have some hellions on our hand. And you guys know that's not the way life works. That if you have kids, they can be super selfish. They can be stingy, and they can be emotional and needy and bad. And if you don't discipline that out of them, that as they grow older, that's not going to work out well. So for a kid, it may feel really good to be selfish or to grab onto something and to yell mine, if you're like one of our little girls. But the reality is you can't live your life that way, or you're not going to have any friendships as you grow older, and you're not going to have any success in the workplace. But the same thing applies to us spiritually. God disciplines us for our own good. And it may sting in the short term, but in the long term, it's going to work out a lot better for us. So I want to speak specifically as we wrap up the day to two types of discipline. Number one type of discipline is, are you currently doing something that you know you shouldn't be doing? Is there something in your life? Maybe it's a relationship. Maybe it's a decision. Maybe it's something that you're doing privately that you would never do publicly. Is there something in your life that you're doing that you know is wrong, that you know doesn't line up with what God has called you to do? That friction that you feel inside is God's discipline. And I'm here to tell you, like, even though it's tough, even though you feel like this is the right way, whatever it is that you're doing, follow that discipline. God loves you, and he's doing it because he wants to see change that's for your good in the long run. And then the second type of discipline that we feel is just the discipline of tough times. Sometimes the Lord allows us to go through seasons that are so challenging, and there's not really a reason. It's not something we've done. We're not living in sin. There's not a mistake that we've made that has led to it. It's just the reality of life is hard sometimes. And some of those seasons are where we learn the most about who we are, about who God is, and about where our joy comes from. So if you're in one of those two spots today, take heart. God has chosen to discipline you because he loves you and because you're his child. So remember that. And then if there's a decision in front of you that you're doing something that currently is not God's best for you, whether it is the way you spend time, the way you spend money, a relationship, a work decision, whatever that looks like, make the change today. So I want us to take that away today and start thinking about it. Start examining your life. Are you in a dry season? Are you in a tough season? Realize that if you start asking the question, God, will you show me more of yourself in this season, you're going to get benefit from it. Or maybe you're in a spot where you're doing something you know is not right. Start examining your life and your motives and your decisions, and ask the Lord to help you see areas that he's trying to discipline out of you so that it is better for you in the long haul. That's all I got for this week. Thanks for hanging out with me for Proverbs chapter 3. I'll see you guys on Monday as we dive into Proverbs chapter 6.